Alright, this is Vegeta8259, and this is part 1 of my review of the Master Grade Gundam Deathscythe EW, or as some of us know it as Deathscythe Verka. Even though this is technically not a Verka release, traditionally over the past 16 years or so, this design's been known as Deathscythe Verka. Anyway, that's besides the point. This was released in September of 2010, and my initial impression is that this is actually a very, very nice Master Grade. I'm not really a big fan of the color scheme, which is why I'm going to be painting it in a custom color scheme, which you'll see later. But the overall design of the mobile suit, as far as like line art goes, is very, very nice, I think. And the engineering of the kit as well is very nice. The inner frame is, I wouldn't say based on Master Grade Wing Gundam, but is heavily influenced by Master Grade Wing Gundam. There are, I think, 2 frames of this Master Grade that were included with Master Grade Wing Gundam, and I think that's going to be the case with several of the future Gundam Wing releases. So anyway, this is the kit snapped together, completely unpainted. So this is what it's going to look like straight out of the box. For colors, you're going to get white, you're going to get gray for the inner frame and some of the outer details. You're going to get a very, very dark blue for the upper torso, shoulders, and forearms and the backpack. You get a very orangey yellow, kind of macaroni and cheese yellow, which you can see that's kind of all over the place. And you just get a few red parts for the forehead, the chin, and the cockpit hatch on the stomach. You also get a clear part for the eyes, and actually, I'll wait for him to rotate back around. There's a small clear part on the center crotch piece. No idea why Deathscythe has a camera on his crotch, but that's just the design. Anyway, in the box you're also going to get the Buster Shield, which has some nice little gimmick there. I'll go over that later. It also has a clear green effect part to go with it. You get a beam scythe and the associated effect part. And Master Grade Deathscythe has the same hands as Master Grade Wing Gundam, meaning that the thumb is posable, but the fingers are fixed pose, and you get 4 different sets of fingers. On there right now are the fingers for the closed fist position, but you also get a set of fingers for an open hand, a gripping hand for the beam scythe, or beam saber in Wing Gundam's case, and, let's see, where is it? A trigger finger hand, which technically you can use that for the beam scythe on Deathscythe, but doesn't really make much sense since you've already got a gripping hand. Anyway, you get a tiny figure of Duo Maxwell, a little standing one. There's also one inside the cockpit. You get a action base connector, as with most of the newer Master Grades. And you get some decals, a small sheet of foil stickers, a sheet of dry transfers, and behind that is a sheet of clear stickers. And even though it has a blue backing, they're not water slides, they're actually clear stickers. Bandai seems to have changed the colors on those lately. Anyway, I'm basically doing this first part of the review to show you what the model kit looks like straight out of the box, since I'm going to be doing a custom color scheme. And before I end this, I do want to do a quick comparison to, I guess, the advanced version of this same mobile suit, the Deathscythe Hell Custom. And as you can see, their designs are very, very similar, even though their color schemes are very different. With the exception of their backpacks, obviously the Hell Custom having a large Batman cape, and the Verka, aka EW, having a smaller backpack. The shoulders are also different, obviously. Although, if you look at this black part right here, you can kind of see that same shape on the EW version of Deathscythe, but this one just has a thrusters up here, and this one just has some white spiky things. Also, the custom has some armor on the forearms with some additional spiky things, where the other Deathscythe doesn't. I'm starting to get confused on what to call these things. And then again, the legs are more or less the same, albeit with color differences. Of course, this is the high grade from 1997, so it's got some differences as far as like panel lines go, but other than that, the designs of these two suits are pretty much the same. And being so similar, now that we have a master grade of this Deathscythe, I think that maybe not, I don't know, I can see a master grade of Deathscythe Hell Custom getting made in 2011 sometime. Maybe not early 2011, maybe not late 2011, but I can see this guy getting made sometime next year in master grade form. Anyway, I think that's about all I wanted to cover in this first part. Now I'm going to get to work and start painting this kit, and when we come back it will be in a completely different color scheme. So this is what Deathscythe looks like after it's been painted, and obviously I've gone with a custom color scheme. So basically what I did was I kind of disregarded the Kotoki color scheme and just painted Deathscythe strictly by the TV show color scheme. Meaning we get a black head, well it's actually not black, it's a dark blue, for the shoulders, chest, forearms. Really not a lot has changed. The head is black where it was white, the center part of the V-fin's yellow where it was red. The torso is pretty much the same. Shoulder and upper arms are pretty much the same. This little wrist part here is now gray where it was yellow. The hands are all gray where they had a white backing. The backpack is now all gray where it was had a lot of blue, a lot of white, yellow right here on the vent. The skirt armor used to be mostly white, but now it's mostly dark blue with gray in the front. And the legs are pretty much unchanged. Also, I changed the color scheme on the shield to be a little bit more accurate to the TV show colors. So I'll look at that more when I go over the weapons in part 2. Anyway, let's get down to articulation, because this is a pretty nicely posable kit. The head has a double joint. There's a ball joint up inside the head, which lets it go side to side a little bit, up and down very, very slightly, and it can rotate 360. And then there's a hinge joint down inside the torso, which lets the head raise up a little bit more and come down a little bit more. Alright, now for the torso itself, there's a joint inside the torso for the shoulders, which lets them come out about that far and lets them go up and down a little bit. The arms can obviously rotate 360, although you'll want to be careful for this backpack here because they can tend to touch each other. The arms can go out about that far. There's rotation below the shoulder. There's a double jointed elbow, and you're not going to get quite a full 180, but you can get it pretty close, especially just depending on the way you bend the elbow. You can get more or less a full 180 degrees, but not quite. Anyway, the wrists, like I said, the hands are the same hands that Master Grade Wing Gundam had, so they are on a ball joint, and the thumb is on a ball joint as well, and we get 4 different sets of fingers. These are obviously the closed fist fingers. We also get a set of gripping hands, a set of trigger fingers, and a set of open hands. And also, I thought this was a nice little gimmick, although it's not really a gimmick, I don't think. But anyway, this little gray piece that used to be yellow on the wrist, it won't let the wrist come up very much, but the way it's designed lets it bend down like so pretty far, which I guess Bandai was thinking could make for some better poses with the beam scythe. So that is there as well. Now there is a double jointed, well actually a double ball joint for the waist. There's a ball joint at the mid-torso, and then there's a ball joint at the waist. So Deathscythe can bend forward and back and side to side, and can actually, let's see, can he rotate 360? No, not quite. The skirt armor kind of gets in the way, but he can rotate about that far. Let's see, the cockpit hatch. I always seem to forget the cockpit hatch. It opens up like so. There's a little figure of Duo in there, although you probably can't see it. This little piece of skirt armor fell off. Thankfully, the cockpit hatch on Deathscythe is a lot easier to open than it was on Master Grade Wing Gundam. Let's see, all of the skirt armors are on ball joints. The front skirts are actually on a double joint consisting of a ball joint and a hinge, meaning they can move up about that far, and they can rotate side to side a bit. The side skirts are on a ball joint, so they can rotate and go up and down. Same thing for the back skirts. I find that the back skirts pop off kind of easily, so that might be something to take note of. Anyway, one thing I did notice is that unlike Deathscythe Hell Custom, this front crotch piece does not move up and down. Kind of glad for that. I completely forgot the backpack. Let's do that really quick. The two sides of the backpack here are on ball joints, and you can actually just pull those out slightly, and those can go back and forward and in and out, so they've got quite a bit of wiggle to them. And then these little fins on the side of the backpack can go up and down as well. The thrusters, while they are on ball joints, they don't really move, so yeah. Anyway, the hip joints are on a pretty similar joint system to like Gundam 2.0 and Zaku 2.0, and they can move up about that far. Actually, they could go a lot further, but the front skirts get in the way. They can go back until the back skirts stop them, and they can go out until the side skirts stop them. So really, the only thing stopping the mobility of the hips is the skirt armor. The knees are double jointed, and the back skirt popped off again. The knees, I'm going to leave that off. The knees are double jointed, and you can get a full 180 degree bend. You've got a little piston right here that slides in and out when you bend the knee, and the knee armor does slide a little bit, not much. So just watch, and it slides up very slightly. And if you push it up, it does kind of move a little bit further, but it doesn't move quite as much as Master Grade Wing Gundams. Anyway, the ankles are on a double ball joint. Got a ball joint up here and then a ball joint down there, and the ankle armor is attached to that ball joint piece, so we get quite a bit of wiggle room, although it can't really rotate 360 on either one of the ball joints really. It can rotate about that far. Then the feet can go up and down, they can go side to side, rotate a little bit as you just saw. The heel doesn't move, but the front half of the foot does bend down, and it bends up, and the spiky end of the toe can move up and down as well, similar to Gundam 2.0. So I guess that about does it for articulation and for part 1. I know this was a long part, so thanks for sitting through this. Anyway, now I'm going to move on to part 2. We'll go over the Deathscythe's inner frame and the weapons and accessories and my final thoughts.